Ted Knopfel again, Mayor. If the mood in this country can be measured at all in this election cycle, it is that people are disconnected from the government themselves. They are mistrustful of the government, mistrustful of the administration. And at the national level, it's lofty ideas typically that we're talking about, but let's come right down to the city level, and let's talk about some of the disconnect here in this city. Earlier, the manager mentioned public confidence. Well, Mayor, how are you ever going to get public confidence if we are not going to be open and forthcoming with the people? With the people. I have 3 examples here I want to run through briefly. The first is the legislation that's in place in the House to tighten public records request. Now, we have the League of Cities. I believe the city participates in that. And the League is the biggest advocate for putting impediments on public records request. So is that the pleasure of this city? Is that the pleasure of you all as well? Are the League of Cities supporting you in this endeavor? Because I don't view that they're supporting me. We've got a letter from Marilyn Crotty here. We all remember Marilyn Crotty from a couple of years ago, the visioning session. You all invited citizens to come out and share your vision. And she came there that Saturday morning, didn't want to hear from citizens, didn't want to hear from them. So she speaks about the legislation's moving well, despite widespread opposition. Well, there is widespread opposition, Mayor, not just from the media, but also from the First Amendment Foundation. We've got numerous editorials here in our own local paper on it. So what is happening on that issue vis-a-vis Port Orange? Does Port Orange support that? Well, this is in the manager's read file that sadly we don't get published anymore. It takes activists to FOIA and publish it a week, 10 days late. Let's look at another item. I have passed in some pension numbers that were of concern of me and asked that they be looked at and perhaps get back to me on it. Well, the assistant manager got back up to all of you on February 1st. You didn't think to get back to me. I posed this issue. You didn't think to get back to the people. You've met a couple of times since February 1st. You've got all of this in your possession. Yes, the calculations were correct. Yes, the overpayment without it would have seen an increase in the unfunded liability. And just mum's the word. Mayor, how are you going to have public confidence when all we're doing are hiding these items? And then the last item I have, and this one is absolutely atrocious, and it has to do with the Florida legislature chastising the city of Port Orange for not implementing audit recommendations. And once again, this came in on February the 5th. We catch it by activists FOIAing it. Why was this kept secret from the people since February the 5th, Mayor? Is there any possible explanation for this? Is this embarrassing? The answer is yes, absolutely. And the answer is clean up the cause of the embarrassment rather than hide it from the people. That would be my request for you guys here tonight. Taking down the manager's read log was a mistake, an outright mistake, and it needs to be rectified. Mayor, hopefully here tonight, if you all would see it that way. Thank you for listening to me, Mayor.
Thank you. Mike Gardner.
Mayor, Council, Mike Gardner, 618 Ruth Street. Probably should have checked with Ted before I wrote down that note there, since he said a lot of what I was going to say. I do promise, though, I won't talk about the BERM tonight. I seem to get yelled at a lot when I bring that up. You know, what Ted said about the pension plan got me too. And the reason it sort of stuck in my head was I've got a friend who is retired, and one of her main sources of income is a pension check that she gets from the Teamsters. And they just sent her a letter saying that her benefits may go down. Teamsters are apparently in pretty sad financial shape, at least their pension plan. And people who read the news have probably noticed that the city of Jacksonville owes like $2.4 billion in unfunded liabilities to their pension plan. They're talking about a half-cent sales tax or decreasing, I forget the exact term they use, I think quality of life improvements in Jacksonville to pay for the pension plan. Now, as I read Mr. Rosen's letter, he basically says Ted is correct in that our pension plans, were it not for the overpayments that we've been making recently, would be decreasing in financial health, for lack of a better term. And that scares me. It really does, because when that happens, we're not like the Teamsters. We're not required to keep as strict of controls over our pension plans as private pension plans like the Teamsters are. So our liabilities are more, at least on a percentage-wise, than the Teamsters. And when things start going bad in a city, since cities don't generally go bankrupt, they begin to raise taxes. So I really think, and I would like to see some real in-depth discussion of what this means or could mean for the taxpayers of this town, and also what it could mean for the people drawing those pensions. Because like my friend who's getting a letter from the Teamsters, I would really hate to see fire and police begin to get letters from the city of Port Orange. I don't know, it concerns me. I won't repeat what Ted said. Thanks.
Thank you.